Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the original player, Lance Romance, and we're going to do this interview the only way we know how.
That's Playa style, baby.
So, Lance, you've run up and down the roads of Texas, but most people know you for your time in PCW on the other side of Arlington with the Bussies. Right. What was it like working with the Bussies?
You know, they don't get enough credit for the business for what they did. And they ran for about 10 years, right? And, if it wasn't for those guys, a lot of us wouldn't be where we are today. I'll put it that way.
And there were many, many memorable moments in PCW history. What would be your favorite moment in PCW history if you could go back and choose just one?
Like you said, there's plenty. I mean, I can mention the Red Dog and Jazz and the first time we were on TV, but definitely when we made TV and the formation of the Players Club, and that was with Mike, the main event, Mike Fox and Lance Hoyt, 7-foot shadow back then, and from Canyon to C. Diddy, from Lance Romance, the idol maker, to Lance Romance, the original player. The night that we formed and made the Players Club was probably the best moment that we had.
If you could run one more show, who out of the big names now that have left WWE or TNA, what would be one match you would love to book that you think would draw?
It's not so much the people who've left the WWE, as my heart is with the guys and the talent that's trying to get to the WWE, right? And right now there's guys like Sammy, Mr. Money's-Worth, Guevara, Absolute Ricky Starks. Those guys are money. There's Carson. There's guys like that tonight here at VIP. We've got Johnny Gargano and Brian Cage, So one match would be hard to put, but you got some talent here in Texas that my point is there's guys that are happy and satisfied with where they're at in Texas and making Texas what it is today. But the ones that I like to help and promote are the ones that are trying to go above and beyond.
What does it mean to be a member of the Playa Club?
Well, let me tell you, when the Players Club started, it wasn't something we saw on the outside. It was on the inside. Okay, you had to have some guts, some heart for the business, and and believe it or not, C. Diddy had some of that back then. Mike Fox had it, but the whole Players Club started because they had nothing for any of us. Okay, that was probably every week I was going to get fired, but week in and week out we came out and the crowds got bigger and they got louder for us, so we forced them to have to use us. Okay, this wasn't because they liked us, and I'm telling you straight up, so to be a player, it was a fraternity. It wasn't what a promoter put guys together. Okay, this was something that we all meshed, and from Zane Morris to Martin Styles, Shadrick from Tough Enough, Chance Romance, my little brother was around back then, so to be a player, you had to feel it inside. It wasn't just on the outside of what you can do.
If you could add other members of today's generation of wrestlers, like you said, the up-and-coming stars, who would you choose?
Well, there's no doubt, not everybody needs an advisor, but there are some guys I think that would make it, that would enhance them, And if it was for me today, definitely Absolute Ricky Starks, Sammy Guevara, probably Jesse Sorensen. He's healed from a neck injury, and there was somebody that I helped back in 2008. Way back in 2008, And this guy has been through it all, and he's making his way back through. Those are guys like that, If a Scott McKenzie would cut his hair and his goatee and be the total player again, I'd love to have him, And the only way for me to come back would be for it to be just right, and not just to be just a manager, at ringside, but it'd have to have. We caught lightning in the bottle in 2001, and I dare say there's been nobody since to catch that same electricity and that same excitement that anybody saw back then. And it was called the house that Lance built but I was just the face of it. Man, with all the guys around it, I couldn't have done nothing without everybody around me, and that means I got to drink, I got to smoke, I got to do whatever I wanted to. We had the freaks of the industry around us, the playettes, and, everything worked just right. And, who knows, right, what happened here in VIP. There's other shows around that I've talked to, but I don't know. It'd have to be the right opportunity for that Players Club to come back again.
What would be your definition of the right opportunity, and with which members, original or new members?
I think the original members, as much as it would be fun, it isn't necessary as much. The whole thing about the Players Club was to elevate guys that the office had nothing for. Okay, what was Martin Styles going to do before the Players Club? After that, he became the greatest of all time, the GOAT for PCW. Zane Morris was the Gazelle or something, and then he became I don't know, some badass. I can't remember the name now, but it was, so the Players Club is there to have a foundation and help each guy. And you know what? I wasn't always ringside for those guys, but you wear that shirt. And like I've said before, you can't go to school, you can't be trained to be a player. You got to have it in you. You got to grow up. I didn't go to class somewhere and become the original player. I grew up. My environment made me a player. I had freaks around me. I had drinks around me. I had everything, So that was I was a product of my environment. I grew up and became the original player. It's not a gimmick. It's for real.
Now, out of all the stars, past, present, and what you do see coming up as our future, who do you think is, at the moment or over all time, your favorite person in the ring or out of the ring?
Right now, in Texas?
In general.
In general. Man, like I said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to beat a dead horse. Ricky Starks and Sammy Guevara, by far, I believe, will be the next couple. And these guys remind me a lot of Paul London. They got a little. They don't look like him, but Red Dog. These guys have it. They want it. It's here right now. Jesse Sorensen. Jesse went on and did his thing. I believe Ricky and Sammy Guevara are two of the guys that really you got to want it to get it. And I think those two are phenomenal athletes, and I like to see them. I hope one day I see them. We both see them on NXT or wherever. Ring of Honor. We got ACH. He came from here. I keep forgetting. Big Black Zilla, Keith Lee. Him and Shane Taylor are tearing things up right now. So those are things. Keith Lee in one company was in a version of the Players Club in Denton. So I'd love to see those guys. And the problem with today is not everybody wants to see somebody next to them move up. And I think you should be proud and happy for anybody that you work with to get called up.
What is one difference that you realize between the industry back then during PCW or before that up until now?
The difference? There's more show to it. There's more entertainment to it, And we were entertaining back then, but there was more grit to it. There was more fight to it, and now today, to be honest with you, just about anybody can get in. It was a little harder back in the day, but to each his own, and everybody's got a right to live their dream or try to live their dream. All I say is, if you're not going to be the best that you can be, then get the hell out the way and let the ones who want to be get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we did this interview the only way we know how, and that's Playa style. I'm Sean, this is Lance Romance, and this is a exclusive bell-to-bell interview.